Now, before we get started with our webinar, You're the Store, Food Retailing's New Frontier, I'd like to share a little info about the speakers who are going to be participating in it. First of all, we have Alicia Samuel, who's the Director of IT Business Solutions ERP at Longo's. Alicia Samuel is responsible for all technology activities associated with transformational projects and leveraging technology. She plays a critical role as the interface between the business and IT, and she collaborates to realize the Longo strategic objectives and drive technical innovation. Next, we also have Patrick O'Mara, who's the Senior Solutions Consultant with Symphony Retail AI. Patrick has spent his entire career in the retail space, actually, ranging in roles from store management and operations to implementation of large complex projects. He has a passion for delivering a fast ROI to retailers, which has led him to driving next generation's retail technology into store operations, forecasting, and replenishment for Symphony Retail AI.
Great. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mike, for the introduction, and I'm happy to be here to talk about Longo's. Just to set the stage from a size perspective, we are not the size of Walmart, Target, or Kroger, but we are going through a transition that I'll speak about, where we are preparing for our next 5 years in our strategy. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the background of Longo's as I shift through my slides here. We are a grocery retail company that was started by 3 brothers in 1956 in Toronto, Canada, or in the north. The focus back then, as it is now, is on fresh produce and exceptional customer service. And in our ecosystem, we have 33 stores, 1 distribution center, our warehouse, 1 dark store facility that we pick from for our online grocery operations, which we've been in e-commerce, online, home and business delivery since 2006. We also do pick in the small areas from a couple of stores, but I could talk about that a little bit later. We also have a central kitchen where we produce our salad and veggie and fruit trays for the stores, and we supply it to our stores. So that's a bit of a background of Longo's. There are over 6,000 employees at Longo's, and we continue to grow each year. So I'm just going to talk about what we stand for. Our vision is to be the most trusted and relied upon food partner at every touch point with our guests by putting family standards at the heart of everything that we do. I'm going to touch about that within my presentation, but experience it from the store perspective, in-store experience, and also from the online experience is incredibly important. Our mantra is that the highest standards are family standards. So we live this mantra through our operations and how we interact with our guests. And I say guests because we're changing the word of customer into guests. And that's how we think about them. They're guests at our table. Our goal is to create a one-to-one relationship with our guests so that we can build that emotional attachment and loyalty to become the preferred destination to shop through providing unique, innovative products and services. What I've done is I've collected a collage here of pictures just so you get a sense of what we do within the stores. We've got in our ecosystem stores that range in large format from 45,000 square feet to some small format stores, which are in our urban center at about 10 to 15,000 square feet. So in this picture, what you're seeing here is just from one of our newest stores, and that one is about 45,000 square feet store. And we've got juice bars in there, our kitchen area, which is hot and cold food that we have there. We have a living well area as well. In here, we're focusing very much on the assortment that we're carrying and what our customers are asking us for. So just talking a little bit about what we're seeing in the grocery retail landscape. As we grow, some of the challenges we face in the industry are due to what our customers are demanding of us. Longo's places the customer at the heart of everything that we do. Our customers, or guests as we call them, have changed the way that they shop, which means that we need to change the way that we interact with them. They have less time, they're looking for convenience in their shopping experience, whether it's in the brick and mortar store or online, and they're not going to forego the quality in pursuit of that. We know our customers have multiple options to choose from. Typically, our shoppers may go up to 5 other grocers to meet their shopping needs, whether that's in-store or online. So we always want to be on top of their list. Some of the things that we're thinking about, and I'll just build on the next slide here. With this customer-driven mindset, we have to focus on a couple of key things. How do we keep our customers loyal? Because they're demanding that we know them better. So if we want to capture their share of wallet, we better be on the path to, and to be on their path to purchase, we really need to know how to promote to them directly. The other piece is that the in-store experience is critical. Customers can go anywhere to shop. So we're focusing on what we can do to enhance the experience at the store to inspire our customers to be food explorers. Additionally, we have an aging demographic that shops at our store. So we need to ensure that we're appealing to millennial shoppers by delivering the experience in-store and online that they are asking us to do. And so that's a key component as we focus to our future strategy. We're testing and learning some of the concepts we're testing as well. And it becomes very important to understand what will work for our customers in a way that supports our vision and our brand. But we can't do this without our team members, and we need to empower them and engage them so that they're excited about the assortments that we offer and help them provide a stellar customer experience, guest experience. And we continue to be competitive in this fast-paced industry. We need to keep our finger on the pulse, and we need to be ready for enabling our store operations to pivot through different options of fulfilling customer needs, whether that's online, in the store, click and collect. We need to look at all of those different pieces and how that fits into our strategy. This means that you have to have a foundational platform that can execute with nimbleness for these shifts and provide the data and analytics required to engage customers in the way that they expect to be engaged, which is very difficult. So in the ways that we're looking at how we actually prepare for this, we need to understand who we are and what we do best. So as I said earlier, we're not trying to be an Amazon, we're not trying to be a Walmart, but what we are trying to do is give the customers the best experience possible when they come into our brick and mortar stores or they are online. And our approach to understanding our strategy is to make sure that we're focusing on the customer journey and where we can add value along the way. We also ensure that the business is behind the strategy from a people, process, and technology perspective. And speaking about technology, IT modernization is always on the agenda. It's always consistently there. We need to consistently take a look at our legacy systems and what renovations we need to make in order to move forward. For us, it was really around making sure that our foundational back-end systems were ready and that also our data analytics strategy was ready to move forward. And if we look forward, we've done some renovation work on our back-end systems to provide an integrated end-to-end platform that can help us manage our collaboration with our vendors and suppliers. And that included making changes to our supply chain, store ordering, receiving, vendor management, product master, demand planning applications. And we did that by leveraging Symphony's retail platform. That was a huge project for us. It took us about 3 years to get through it, and we included as a smaller project as part of that, enabling our financials to fit within this new ecosystem. But we had to do it in order to be competitive and to move forward. And we wanted to make sure that we always had one version of the truth for our data to become more efficient and to help us make the right decisions to become a more customer-centric organization from the planning to analysis and to execution. The renovation was pretty recent, and it was very significant. And we have some measurements that we're looking to obtain once we get past our stabilization phase and into our benefit realization phase. But the end goal is to have one version of the truth for our data to make our decisions and to have predictive capability in our demand forecasting and have accuracy in our inventory and make sure we have the right assortment in front of our customers with the right pricing, all the while being able to provide a more personalized experience. So that's a lot of work to do in order to get there. We've gotten past some very heavy lifting, and we're looking forward to how all this hard work is going to pay off in the end. And all of that with the goal of making sure that our customers and guests are coming back to our stores and are maintaining the loyalty, and we're doing this in order to make sure that our brand is very strong. But we know that in order to be able to move forward or to look forward, we needed to make sure that we did some heavy renovation in the back end in order to make sure that our strategy moving forward will enable us to do all the great things that we are currently in the midst of testing. Which includes supply chain automation, some robotics that we're taking a look at as well, focusing on our inventory management. We need to make sure that the apples that we sell are actually making it through as fresh as possible to the stores, so that's always top of mind. But also taking a look at how we're holding and managing our inventory as we go along. So a lot of that came out of the renovation that we just went through, and I think that we are in a good position and poised to actually make sure that we can move forward with some of the pieces that we need to move forward in order to make sure that our experience for our customers, or our guests as we call them, is part of our brand and our strategy and how we've always done it. So I just wanted to pause there and thank you all for allowing me to share our Longo story. And I'm going to pass it on to our next speaker, who's Patrick.
Thanks a lot. So as we shift forward, getting into kind of a broader view of how retailers are kind of adapting to some of the challenges that have been kind of covered throughout this session so far. I think a lot of the challenges that Longo's has gone through and attempted to solve for in the last few years as part of those projects that Alicia had mentioned are some of the things that we're seeing in some reporting that we've seen from Ensemble IQ. So, for example, 60% of retailers surveyed are attempting to increase their inventory visibility. That's on the back end from a supply chain planning perspective, but also on the front end, being able to present that kind of information to the end consumer, so that way we can ensure that the consumer is getting the experience they want when they're looking online or through their apps or however they're doing their shopping. Just the same, 51% of retailers surveyed are focusing on reducing cycle time, so trying to get the product into the end consumer's hands as fast as possible. And 42% are trying to increase that speed to shelf. So it speaks to, I think, a lot of what Longo's is tackled as far as attempting to update back-end systems to make the front-end experience more relevant and quickly, and managing that quickly. One challenge we've seen through this report is that 4 in 10 retailers currently don't have the applications or systems in place that are going to drive the end results that they expect to see. So if we're working on increasing inventory visibility, reducing cycle time, and increasing speed to shelf, obviously we need the back-end applications and systems that are going to drive that front-end experience. How that relates a little bit more focused into some of the things that Alicia had mentioned are really around demand forecasting. So, currently of the retailers surveyed, 43% lack real-time inventory visibility, which really speaks to that 60% who are trying to increase their current inventory visibility. 40% feel challenged by unforeseen market risks. So we all know that grocery specifically is a very responsive market. So as things change around releasing of government assistance or major holidays, that has a very real impact on a needs of a consumer. And 34% of those retailers surveyed cite a lack of forecast accuracy as a major challenge. So you can see that there's a pretty tight correlation between forecast accuracy, and some of those unforeseen market risks. Altogether, one of the major takeaways from this survey was that it's not simply a problem that small grocers or medium-sized grocers are facing. This is something that every grocer is facing, specifically in North America today. That dealing with these major challenges as we've had major market shifts, including the opportunity to be able to purchase online or to be able to purchase in store, or a hybrid model. So ultimately, how can grocers leverage AI, and why is it so important for this particular market? So descriptive analytics is kind of, I'd say, the entry point of most grocers into AI. And one thing Alicia had mentioned was, to ready their transition to be more guest-centric. They focused on not only their back-end systems around master data or replenishment, but also around BI and reporting. So one area that AI can really help grocers as kind of an entry point is via a one-time model, where it's very descriptive, creating reports and dashboards that are using artificial intelligence. On a machine learning standpoint, which is kind of the next phase in, the algorithms and ultimately the AI is actually updating the model as you go. That gets more reports, and then as opposed to just a dashboard, the ability to be able to really drill into information and access, deep information. Kind of the third area about AI and where it can really assist grocers, and this is where it's really kind of, I'd say, hitting the turbo button, is really once you get into deep learning. So training the machine, allowing the machine to reason with data, and ultimately being able to provide information out, which can be a lot more prescriptive and predictive. So this is an area where grocers are able to better plan for the supply chain, whether that be feeding into a warehouse or feeding into the store, as well as be able to negotiate better with vendors at the end of the road to understand, what different impacts can affect movement, and how, a CPG or a distributor might want to adjust cost or pricing that could increase ultimate movement, being a win-win for both the distributor, the grocer, and the consumer. Taking all that into account, and what we've heard about kind of Longo's reinvention story about becoming more guest-centric, I just wanted to kind of wrap with kind of 5 questions you should really be asking yourself about your next technology investment. So first, I think this one is really straightforward. Does the system enable me to drive omni-channel strategies while supporting cost-to-serve initiatives? Put more simply, am I better serving my customer at a lower cost? So, as you're thinking about where to invest your technology dollars, it's important to think about, both sides of the equation. My end consumer experience, as well as how do I cost it in a way that's going to, ultimately make my margins that I expect to make. The second question is, am I streamlining the process of getting products into my customers' hands? So as you really work through your technology budget, understanding the end goal of any retailer is to, delight the customer and sell more products than you sold the day before or the year before. So ultimately, is this project, is this investment that I'm going into going to help me achieve that end goal of getting the product into the consumer's hands and doing that efficiently? Third, will the system enable me to provide my customers a simpler, more gratifying shopping experience? So as we kind of continue through, this links very closely with the second question. So now stepping a little bit further from getting the product into my consumer's hands, Am I giving them a better shopping experience? So is the product on the shelf when they go to pick it up? When they go to buy it online, is it available or do they need substitutions? So we're trying to solve problems like that. Fourth, is the system leveraging AI and machine learning to drive more efficient and accurate forecasts that support in-store and online shoppers? So as the basket of shoppers changes from a blend of in-store and online to a more online focused or more in-store, depending on the assortment available in each location, how are we leveraging machine learning to ultimately reduce costs and be more accurate when doing things like forecasting to ensure that your customers can be delighted? And finally, is the application system, is ultimately the investment agile and adaptable to grow with the business? I think as Mike highlighted at the very beginning, the business is changing. The business of retail, grocery retail is changing dramatically on a year-to-year basis, and you need technology that supports that change. So really, each of these steps should be evaluated with under the umbrella of question number 5. That is, every decision I'm making agile or rigid? Is it adaptable or fixed? And that's should really help drive your business to be able to reflect as your guests change. So to make sure that ultimately we're meeting and just like Longo's, becoming a guest-centric experience.
Thanks a lot, Patrick. So now we're going to begin the Q&A portion of the webcast. So on to our first question. From a customer experience standpoint, how would you compare the challenges faced by small and medium retailers with those of the larger big box retailers?
I could jump in. It's Alicia. So I guess in the ecosystem of retailers, Longo's is considered to be probably, we're not small, but we're definitely not large in Ontario and in Canada. The customer experience that you have from a smaller retailer or mid-sized retailer to a big box retailer is essentially the same. Customers know what they want. They want to be able to go into a store, find the assortment that they want, or online, find the assortment that they want. They're looking for the convenience of their time. There's a customer, the way that we've mapped it out is there's a customer journey map that we've created, and when we were trying to take a look at what are they looking for and what do they need convenience. They need to know that their assortment is at the store or it's online, it's at the right price that they're looking at, and that there's a convenient way for them to get it, and that they're getting the best experience that they could possibly get. So in my presentation, when I was speaking about experience, we are really focusing on that experience on store, which is different to the experience online, but it still needs to be there for the online demographic. But the in-store, making it, when you walk into the store, that our team members understand you and who you are and how often you shop with us and what you need. And a lot of that relies on having the foundational elements in place so that you have the right analytics to know what they're looking for. So I think the work is kind of the same. The scale will be different, whether it's smaller, medium, or large.
Great. Thanks a lot, Alicia. We're going to go with our next question here. Actually, this goes back to you, Alicia. How have you seen customer activity shift since becoming online? Have you seen a significant boost overall, or has online grown over in-store, or vice versa?
That's a great question. So we've been on the home and business online delivery since 2006. And, we've gone through our test and learn pieces as we grew the business. And we've been seeing growth year over year. The demographic for who actually shops online is different than the demographic for who actually goes into the stores. So we're seeing growth, sales year over year in our store, and we're seeing growth on the e-commerce side. But really and truly understanding that the people that shop at Longo's and the people that shop at Grocery Gateway by Longo's are looking for different things. So convenience matters for one set. where we have same-day delivery for some of our postal codes. There's a certain assortment. We don't have all of the assortment on our e-commerce site, but there's a significant amount of the assortment there, versus those that are more food explorers that are going into the stores. So we cater for both, and we have to have a strategy that combines our brand, our loyalty, and connect that in both of those channels. So that's how we do it. But we are seeing growth in both.
Okay, great. And it looks like we have time for one more question here. With Amazon's technical lead, does if we can't beat them, join them, enter into the strategic alternatives?
Sure. Well, I mean, Amazon is truly an incredible competitor for sure from our online perspective. As we look at one of the points that I put in our presentation is truly understanding who you are and how you play in this ecosystem is really important for building out your overall long-term strategy. So we know what we do really well from an online perspective, and we know where we're not going to play from an online perspective. And for us, and this is just the Longo's experience, we've decided where we're going to our box that we're going to stay in, and we're working through that piece. But we always look and always do a competitive overview in order to understand what's happening in the industry and what works for us and what doesn't work for us. For Longo's, that's how we look at Amazon.
All right. Well, that wraps up our Q&A portion. But thanks again, Alicia, Patrick,